Thank you for coming out this evening. It's so nice to have all of you here. My name is Laura Jacobs. My husband, Jerry, where'd he go? Jerry and I are the homeowners, but more importantly for this purpose, just the elated hosts of this evening's event, and so excited to create a space for Kim to officially announce his book and to celebrate him and his lovely family and their success and what brought him here. I don't know how much you know about Kim's background, but in times in the past when we visited, I was super intrigued with his past life, where he would go into corporations undercover, cloaked as a regular, everyday, rank and file employee, and then see what was going on and be amongst, the tribe. Whereas the people up in the fourth floor, whatever it is at the company, didn't have that same perspective, right? People put on their best faces or they pretend or whatever, and you don't have the opportunity to really see what's happening. So his undercover work allowed him to work with corporations and reveal then to those in charge what was really going on in their businesses. And so he's been able to take that incredible experience and really understand leadership and what it means to create an environment of success for companies, and then interpret that same genius and helping people have that ability to go undercover in their own lives and to, hello, welcome, and to achieve that same ability to see oneself and one's life. And I just think this is so fun and so intriguing, and I love that he turned it into a book and helping each of us to excavate our natural genius so that we can go in and find our natural passions, figure out how to solicit them, and become a multiplier in our own life and a leader who can in turn help others do the same. And we're just so thrilled to welcome him and his beautiful wife, Cherie, their sons, and just love them and are so grateful to be friends. And so with no ado, please give our star a warm welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that amazing introduction, and I'm so grateful for the Jacobs to let us use this space. And the moment I walked in here, I just this is the perfect place to do this. Thank you so much. There's always a great spirit and feeling and vibration here. When I go undercover in a business, one of the first things I look for is the leadership and the people. Do the leaders recognize, appreciate, and leverage the genius of their people? Or do they not recognize them? Okay, what do we call that person, that leader, Andrew?
That we like or don't like?
That we like.
It's a multiplier.
A multiplier.
Why are you picking on me, Kim?
I'm always going to pick on you. Because a multiplier, a leader who recognizes the genius of their people and then elevates them and empowers them. Those companies do amazing things. And they so far outshine those companies who don't. Other leaders we call diminishers, who they may recognize genius, but they're threatened by it because they want the spotlight and they don't want to empower other people, or they just don't see the genius. They're not even thinking about finding the best out of their people. Tonight we're going to talk about, you don't have to wait for me to go undercover in your business and teach the leaders to become a multiplier to discover your genius. You can figure that out yourself. You can discover that. And this is going to be so fun. Your life will never be the same. You discover your natural genius and you figure out why you were sent on this earth. You use your natural genius and follow your deepest passion. You are becoming who you were meant to become. There's power in that. This is a super important topic. Super happy to share this. Okay, I have lots of movies in my book that I refer to that are true stories. Hidden Figures, 2016. One of my favorite quotes in that movie is from Kevin Costner. He said, "Do you know what your job is?" to this gentleman right here. Because he's actually a diminisher and he has a genius right in front of him. She's threatening because she's super brilliant, but the space program needs her to do the things that they need to do. In the 1960s, black and a woman So she has everything against her. He says, your job is to find the genius in your people. That's your job. And she was sitting right there. Let's get started. Some people go, wow, what's natural genius? I'm going to give you the definition of natural genius. First of all, you're born with it. Okay, it's nothing you acquire. You don't do anything special to acquire this. You are given this genius or this gift. It's unique to you. It's something you love to do. In fact, you can't stop yourself from doing it. I'm going to give you some examples. I just want you to be thinking about this. What is your genius? And I'm going to give some really fun examples, natural genius, but you can't stop yourself. You don't have to put it to work. You don't have to say, oh, I got to start working on this. No, it comes to you naturally. It doesn't take concentrated effort or determined focus. It flows naturally, requiring little effort. You may think everyone can do it, and I wish somebody was here, that I'm going to share a story here in a minute. You may think that everybody can do it because it comes to you so easily. And that's one of the reasons it's more difficult to discover, because you think everybody can do that. The truth is they can't. Everybody has a natural genius. So many people will say, I'm not special. I don't have any special gifts or abilities. The truth is everybody has a natural genius. Okay, another movie. Harriet, and I know, Kathy, this is one of your favorite movies. Oh, not movies, but persons, people. I think I told you about the movie. Did you finally get to watch it?
I never watch movies, but
Okay.
I love her.
No, okay, I know you love her. Okay, so in the movie Harriet, 1849, she's escaped from her master. Here's her master on one end. On the other end are the bounty hunters. They're trying to capture her because she's property, according to him. She costs a lot of money, and he wants her back. Here she is on this bridge, and she has a choice. Give herself up and live her life in slavery and captivity, or jump and possibly lose her life. And this is what she said before she jumped off that bridge. I'm going to be free or die. And she did. She jumped off the bridge. And I don't know if she knew what her natural genius was at the time she jumped off that bridge, but it surfaced. And she had this, what would Chad call it? Where's Chad? Walking human GPS? Is that what you called yourself a while ago? Something. This is Harriet. She knew where danger was. She knew where to go, where not to go. She traveled over 100 miles by herself to freedom. And then she went back. She had to share this gift with other people. Over 19 times she traveled over 100 miles to bring freedom to her people. And what I love about Harriet, it's kind of hard to see here, she recognized where this genius came from. She recognized that there is a higher power and that she could get direction from him, and she did. She was just an amazing example of natural genius. And even though there was a reward and a bounty for her, she was in the Underground Railroad. She was the only conductor who had 0 fatalities. Everybody had fatalities. She didn't, because of her natural genius. And she took large groups, and she knew where to go and where not to go. That was her natural genius, and it saved all these people's lives. So when you're operating within your genius, you're elevated to do things that others simply can't do. And there's a little connection to me, there's a little connection to heaven and earth when you're operating within your genius. You see things that other people can't see. You understand things that other people can't understand. You do things that other people can't do when you're operating within your genius. And sometimes it's hard to identify that because you think everybody can do it. Okay, on the business side, here's Liz Wiseman, another one of my favorite authors. How the Best Leaders Make Everyone Smarter. And this is a quote from her. Who can read that for me? David, do you want to read that?
They get results that are head and shoulders above others, and they do it without breaking a sweat.
Okay. I think it was when I first read Multipliers that I said, do I have a natural genius? And I started to trace back and look at my life. I totally saw it. Head and shoulders above others. When you're operating in your genius, you're thinking, oh, that's so easy. Another person's working their guts out, trying to get to do the same thing. Some people spend their entire life doing something outside of their genius. And they put so much effort into it. And they become really good. But if they were to apply that same effort within their genius, now that is what we want to do. Okay, so let me give you an example. Right now, we're remodeling the exterior of our home. I'm trying to figure out all the colors, the paint, and then the backboard, and where to stop it, and just all these things to do. And I came to a point where I was stuck, and I couldn't move forward, and nothing was coming. I said, Melanie, I need to call Melanie. My wife is one of her best friends. I don't want to offend anybody here because there's so many. And so she said, sure, I'll come over. And I just watched her go to work. And I said, okay, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. Here's the color palette. Here's the things that I'm trying to do. And then I sat there and watched her. I watched her work. Okay, one of my gifts is I see other people's gifts. I see other people's genius. And it often brings tears to my eyes because when I see them do things that you can't explain because they're so amazing, it's more than human. It's watching her genius. And we're just putting all this stuff together, and then she says, you see how it pulls out the green? And I look at her and I look back at it. Yeah, I do. Thank you for pointing. I didn't see it. I couldn't see it. And then when we were done, I was so grateful. I was unblocked. I was stuck. And you know when you're stuck in something, you know how other things are hard to do? When you ever felt stuck? I seriously felt stuck, and it was affecting the other parts of my life because I couldn't get past this, and I couldn't fix it myself. I said, thank you so much for helping me. You know what she said? I didn't do anything. I think I might even grabbed her shoulders and said, Melanie, this is the definition of natural genius. It just comes to her so naturally. She didn't think she did anything wonderful, but she unblocked me. Remember, I was just like, the moment, I know what to do. And my vision to create this was all set. And I was freed. I needed her genius. I couldn't do it myself. There we go. We need each other. And we need to show up. Because our genius is needed, especially in the world today. Okay. Laura.
Oh dear.
Okay, so I'm going to pick on a few people. She had no idea. She actually, yeah, you know, she's in my book. I can't remember what page number, but okay. So you know how I recognize genius, and the moment I met Laura, I saw her genius. Let me see if I can explain this very well. Okay, Laura has this ability to take the most complex information and dissect it and simplify it so that people like us can understand it. And then she has this ability. How many here have heard Laura speak in front of big crowds? Okay, Nicole, I know you have. Yeah, Beth, absolutely. What's your biggest crowd? Yeah, Jerry?
The biggest crowd, I think, was 34,000.
34,000. Okay. Moves people. Moves people. You read in my book about pornography and addiction. That addiction cycle, I was at a class of hers, and I'm in the back row, just, and then I'm asking her all these questions. Most of that understanding came from Laura. And I knew I needed to communicate that, because the more you understand about addiction and what's happening in you, the faster you can overcome it. And I knew I needed to share that information. Thank you, Laura. You're a natural genius. I love listening to you. And there's a couple other people that are like you too that I just like. Corinne Clark is another one. Not related to you, but and when I was young, I just in the business world, I loved listening to her because she could articulate. I see the genius in people. Okay. Oh, Beth, you're here. How many know the definition of an empath? Oh, wow, lots of hands. Okay, if you're an empath, I actually share this in your book, you probably found your natural genius. Because an empath is a special gift to be able to see and understand and recognize thoughts, feelings, emotions of others. You think your thoughts are just for yourself? No, actually, we broadcast them out to the world. Just ask any empath. They come into a crowded room like this, and what do you have to do?
Shield up.
You have to shield up, because you're taking on everybody's emotion. And I actually have a couple empaths in my family. When I learned about this, I go, oh my gosh, I have children that are empaths, and I remember talking to them, saying, watch this video and then come talk to me. Oh yeah, we do that all the time. I knew it. I didn't understand it, but I knew it. How would you know how I was feeling way long time ago? And he said, yes. I walked down the hallway and I'm like taking in all this information, all these people. I know what they need. Okay, so I'm on to you. I'm just explaining empaths. If you are an empath and you have that gift, they make the very best mentors on the planet. Talk about, here's Liz Wiseman in the business world saying, okay, you find the natural genius of somebody, they're heads and shoulders above somebody who's not operating within their genius. You get a mentor that's an empath, heads and shoulders is not even close. They're not even on the same planet, almost, because they see things that nobody else can see. They see things that you don't know about yourself. Super beautiful gift. And in my book, how many remember the sports car and the extra gears? Just imagine this. You have a sports car, you've had it all your life. You're driving it, you love to drive it, it's so fun. And one day you're driving it, you look down at the shift pattern, and all of a sudden you see number 4. You've never seen number 4 before. You're like, I have another gear? And you rev it up, push in the clutch, shift it into 4th gear, and open up the throttle, and you're like, you're reaching speeds you've never experienced before. And then you shift. Oh my gosh, there's a 5th gear. You shift up into 5th gear, and am I exaggerating on when you discover, how old were you when you discovered you're an empath, Beth?
Like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Can you tell us just what the difference for your life was then and what it is now? Am I exaggerating when I say it's like finding 2 additional gears in your sports car?
Or 10.
Or 10?
Yeah.
Do you want to share?
Well, obviously you're an empath your whole entire life. You just don't understand it. Once that understanding opens up, then it's like downloads like crazy.
And what kind of things are you doing to help people right now? Everything. Has your life completely changed?
Oh, it's totally different. I used to work in computers. Now I'm like completely over here.
You have this big, beautiful spa out in Saratoga Springs. Oh, Eagle Mountain? Okay, you're just being humble. All right, okay, and Susan. Okay, we'll go to Susan. Thank you. Thank you, Beth. But I just wanted, you're a great example because I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying it's like finding 2 more gears, or 10, according to Beth, when you discover your genius, especially if it's an empath. And the other, Susan. Laura Jacobs, Kim Duncan, and Susan Child changed our lives because they introduced to us the 80-20 rule. You can take care of 80% of your health issues by yourself instead of going to the doctor for everything. Okay, Susan is an empath and has the gift of healing. Our daughter, who was in a wheelchair and before that was in a cane and no doctors could help her. We had no way. We finally went outside of just what we knew and found Susan Child. And she's also in my book with a different name. She was able to heal our daughter, Madeline. And today she is out of a wheelchair and off from a cane and is walking, which nobody could help her. And she was getting worse and worse until we finally found Susan. Anyway, amazing gifts. That was her natural genius, is to heal. She was 10 years old when her mother was sick and nobody could help her. She'd gone through all these doctors and nobody could help her. And her 10-year-old daughter started saying, well, I can help you, Mom. Do this and take this. And the 10-year-old daughter healed her mother. And she is healed, and she's healed my daughter. She's healed me. She told me I had parasites that I had way back when I went to Mexico. And they're gone. And I got rid of them. Her natural genius is to heal. I look at Jerry and me, and probably a lot of you, your natural genius is not so stark as Susan, Beth, or Laura. Let me just tell you my story. It was when I read Liz Wiseman, Multipliers. I thought, I must have a natural genius. I have something that's good. I looked at my business. I started in my garage and grew it to a multi-million-dollar business. And when I realized I spent all of my time doing 2 things. And that's where I naturally went. Helping people. Getting them in the right seat. And getting their genius. I didn't know the word genius, but I knew you were going to do better here. You're really good at this. That's what I did. And the other thing was processes. I just loved making things efficient. Because I could see things that other people couldn't see, and I just made things so dang efficient. I couldn't help myself. Those are the 2 things that I did. So, my natural genius is to improve people and processes. Let me give you an example. In my church, we have callings. And they asked me to be in charge of having people clean the church. My first day, guy had been doing it for years. I said, hey, I'm going to go watch you and see how you do it so I can kind of get the hang of this. So I went to the church and I stood back and just watched. And all these people showed up. I mean, like 5 or 6 families. And they all congregated on this little teeny room. And he sat back there with the sheet and one at a time just said, gave out assignments. And they're all waiting and all backed up. It drove me, I'm not going to say it, it drove me batty. 2 hours later. And then after they got the assignment, then they had to go by him and go figure out, gosh, what do I need? And they're searching around for this stuff. And there's red containers and there's blue containers. They had no idea what to do and how to do it. 2 hours later, we didn't even get through the list. I could not wait to get out of there. I went home. I didn't have to tell my brain to do anything. I woke up in the middle of the night with these downloads of what to do. And during the day, downloads. And so Saturday came around, it's my turn. I made this cool little job board. And I'm looking at the clock, and it was like 9 o'clock. I jumped in my car, I ran to the church. I literally ran down past a few families and duct taped this thing on the wall in the hallway. I didn't say a single word. I stood back like this and then watched everybody go around this. And they looked and looked at something they wanted. They took it off. They knew what to do. They knew what things they needed, and they went and got them. I was so happy. And then people came in late, which they always do. Guess what they did? Oh, the remaining things on the board, they took them, and something that's never happened, the people who were done, who took their first assignments, they came back to the board and said, oh, there's a few left. We got time, and they picked those up. And in 45 minutes, we did everything. Everything. And I didn't break a sweat. It came to me so naturally. It's just what I do. That's my genius. And I can't stop myself from doing it. I had a dream. After I closed my business, I had a dream. I was undercover. This is how Undercover started. I had a dream. And I went undercover in Dave Ramsey's business. I love Dave Ramsey. I couldn't wait to tell him the things, how uptight he would get when he found out this was happening in his company. And literally, I was just so... When I went undercover for my very first time, I was like a kid in a candy shop. My natural genius was... And because you know what? We're supposed to use our genius. They're given to us for a reason. And I needed to do that to be able to become who I'm supposed to become and to help people. And so the church, okay, clean glass, North Foyer, the green, not the red, the green, and the paper towel. So you can, then I had everything staged out, and I got really good at this. But so I had all this stuff out, so they just had to grabbed a tag and grabbed their stuff, and we were so dang efficient. It was so fun. So, Madeline. So, anyway, okay, so this is the point, okay? This is the point. When we use our genius, we are making the world a better place. And it may be something really small. Even like Melanie helping me get unstuck. But even when you do something really small, you're helping somebody. Have you seen October Sky? Here's Homer. And he's at the last launch of this rocket. And we just watched this. And I cry every time because I see the genius. And a lot of it probably because his father is the ultimate diminisher. And here he is, he has this amazing gift, this amazing talent. And he wants to do something with it. His father is just stopping him in every single way, the ultimate diminisher. He finally brings his dad. First time he came to the launch. And then here this rocket goes off. And it goes miles. And this is why, I don't know if you even knew when we're watching. I'm just like trying for you not to see. I'm just crying because you see this power that he created. And this rocket that just goes so miles in the sky, and they just did it in their garage, and there's just this genius that's finding his way in life. And then what he did after this, and what he had to overcome. We all have so many things to overcome. They're stopping us from becoming our best version, and stopping us from discovering our genius or exercising or using our genius. And so that's why this movie is so important to me. And in closing, there's one little formula in here that if you change what you see, what you think, and what you say, you will change your results in your life. If you're up to a brick wall and you can't get past it, you get the same results over and over. This is the formula. I ask my children, my addiction was anger. Abusive parents Didn't even understand that somehow things that happened way back then, when I got married, whoa, were coming out. And I had anger built up inside. Had no idea where it was coming from. That was stopping me from becoming the best version. It was stopping my natural genius. It was stopping every good thing about me. It was hurting my children and my family and my wife. There's 2 great messages in my book. Well, there's probably more, but the most important is that you can overcome anything. And here's the formula. You change those 3 things and you get those in alignment, then you can discover your natural genius. You can overcome pornography. You can overcome a diminisher that's controlling you right now and suffocating you. Discover your natural genius, and your life will never be the same. There you go. Thank you. And I'm so grateful for everybody to be here. Okay, so right now you can purchase my book on Amazon for $24.95. But today and tonight you can purchase it for tonight only for $14.95.
Kim Our Best, Undercover.